Imagine a young boy from a remote Korean village. He toils in the fields for 17 hours a day just to afford a single meal. No proper clothes, no education, no medical care, just poverty, hunger, and hard labor. That boy would one day build an empire worth lakhs of crores. This is the incredible story of Chung Ju-Yung, the visionary founder of Hyundai. Born in 1915, Chung grew up in a poor farming family. His dream was to become a school teacher, but his family couldn't afford to send him to school. Instead, he worked alongside his parents in the fields. Even then, food was scarce. As a child, he occasionally traveled to nearby towns to sell wood. There, he saw something that changed his life. People had food, proper clothes, and didn't have to break their backs in the fields. It stirred something inside him, a deep desire for a better life. In 1932, at just 16 years old, Chung made a bold decision. He ran away from home with a friend, walking over 160 kilometers to reach Kowon City. There, he started working as a laborer on a construction site. The pay was minimal, but it was the first time he earned money on his own, and he was proud. 2 months later, his father found him and brought him home. But Chung had tasted independence, and he couldn't let it go. He ran away 2 more times, caught and returned each time. But in 1934, during his 4th attempt, no one stopped him. This time, he reached Seoul, the capital of present-day South Korea. Chung did every job he could find: laborer, factory worker, and eventually a delivery boy at Bokyang rice store. His dedication impressed everyone, and within 6 months, he was promoted to manager. By 1937, the owner, now gravely ill, handed the store over to Chung. At just 22, Chung became a business owner. He grew the store with hard work and built a reputation for trust. But in the early 1940s, disaster struck. Korea was under Japanese rule, and during World War II, the Japanese government seized all rice businesses, including Chung's. His first venture collapsed. Still, he didn't give up. Determined to find a business the government couldn't control, Chung turned to auto repair. In 1940, he borrowed 3,000 won and opened a car garage. But misfortune followed. Just a month later, the garage caught fire and was destroyed. Chung had to repay loans and compensate customers, but he stayed resilient. He took another loan, rebuilt the garage, and focused on something most garages ignored: speed. While others took 20 days for repairs, Chung promised just 5. By 1943, he had 80 employees, paid off his debts, and brought his family to Seoul. But once again, war interfered. The Japanese seized his garage to convert it into a steel plant for war needs. Chung had to return to his village, but this time he had 50,000 won in savings and the confidence to start again. After World War II ended and Korea gained independence, Chung returned to Seoul and re-established his garage under a new name, Hyundai Auto Service. Hyundai meant modern, and that word perfectly captured Chung's vision. Soon, he noticed the U.S. military was constructing bases in Korea. Despite limited experience, Chung boldly entered the construction business in 1947, forming Hyundai Civil Works Company. He started small, but by the 1950s, Hyundai was winning major projects. Then, in 1950, the Korean War began. North Korea invaded, and Chung had to flee to Busan with his savings. But even in wartime, Chung saw opportunity. The U.S. military needed tents, buildings, and logistics support, and Hyundai delivered. With a can-do spirit, Chung completed every project on time, earning a reputation for reliability. After the war, South Korea began rebuilding, and Hyundai was at the center of it. From bridges to expressways, the country's infrastructure had Hyundai's imprint. In fact, Hyundai built Korea's largest dam, Soyang Dam, and the crucial Gyeongbu Expressway connecting Seoul to Busan. By the 1960s, Chung was a wealthy construction magnate, but he wasn't satisfied. He had built roads. Now he wanted to build cars to drive on them. In 1967, he founded Hyundai Motor Company. A year later, he signed a joint venture with Ford to assemble the Cortina. But by 1973, disagreements ended the partnership. Ford didn't want Hyundai to make its own cars. Undeterred, Chung sought new allies. Rejected by General Motors and Volkswagen, he finally struck a deal with Mitsubishi Motors, which agreed to provide Hyundai with the technology and allow them to manufacture cars under their own brand. The timing couldn't have been better. The South Korean government had just launched a citizens' car initiative, a push for an affordable, reliable car made entirely with Korean parts. In 1976, Hyundai unveiled the Hyundai Pony, Korea's first mass-produced car. It captured 60% of the domestic market, but South Korea's auto market was too small, only about 30,000 cars annually. Worse, the Pony failed overseas due to quality issues. For 7 straight years, Hyundai ran in the red. Advisors urged Chung to shut it down. Instead, he shocked everyone. He built a massive factory capable of producing 300,000 cars a year. Who's going to buy so many cars in a market of 30,000, they asked. Chung saw what others didn't. South Korea's economy was booming, and new buyers would emerge. Plus, the new models would be export-ready. In 1982, Hyundai launched the improved Pony 2. It became a hit at home and abroad, especially in Africa, Latin America, and Canada. Hyundai's comeback was complete, but the ultimate test awaited: the United States. To succeed globally, Hyundai had to crack the U.S. market, fiercely competitive and dominated by American and Japanese brands. Hyundai found its niche: subcompact cars, a largely ignored segment. They launched the Hyundai Excel at the price of a second-hand car with a 5-year warranty. The result? A sensation. In 1986, Hyundai sold 170,000 cars in the U.S. In 1987, over 260,000, making the Excel the top-selling imported car that year. At 72, Chung Ju-Yung retired as honorary chairman of Hyundai, having transformed it from a humble garage to a global automotive powerhouse. Today, Hyundai is the 3rd largest car manufacturer in the world, selling over 4 million cars annually. But the Hyundai Group isn't just about cars. With 42 companies, it spans shipbuilding, elevators, IT, and even the world's largest shipyard through Hyundai Heavy Industries. In South Korea, Hyundai is more than a brand. It's an institution. It helped rebuild the nation, created millions of jobs, and earned global respect. And it all began with one village boy. No money, no education, just vision, resilience, and an unyielding desire for something better.